As soon as night falls, these people turn from humans into bloodthirsty, savage zombies. They have no mercy left inside them. Anyone who comes in front of them is torn apart without hesitation. The virus spreads so fast that not only ordinary people, but even the king of the nation falls victim to it and starts eating people in the middle of a royal gathering. And when thousands of starving zombies break through the palace gates and storm inside, a terrifying massacre begins. In the middle of the chaos, a lone prince fights back with his sword and fire, burning thousands of zombies to ashes. In today's movie, we will witness the horrifying terror of Korean zombies, a nightmare that turned an entire country into a massive graveyard in a single night. At the beginning, we see the crown prince secretly importing weapons and guns from Western countries so he can start a rebellion within the nation. But one of the ministers discovers this secret plan. Without wasting any time, he leads his soldiers and attacks the ship where the weapons are being stored. However, something else is hidden on that ship, something that is about to change the fate of the entire country forever. Inside a large box, a Western zombie is being kept captive. During the attack, chaos erupts. In the confusion, the zombie escapes and viciously bites one of the minister's soldiers. The next day, we see that same soldier somehow making his way back to his village. His eyes have become lifeless and strange, and he can barely walk. Stumbling forward, he finally reaches his home. His wife immediately brings him some food. The moment he sees it, he attacks it like a starving animal. But after a while, he becomes more interested in his wife's neck than the food itself. That night, while everyone is asleep, the virus completely takes over his body, and he transforms into a savage zombie. His young child is sleeping beside him on the bed. The zombie's first victim is his own son. When his wife hears the noise and rushes into the room, she sees that her husband has turned into a monster. Before she can understand what is happening, he attacks her like a wild beast. Soon, he leaves the house and begins biting innocent villagers, turning the entire village into zombies one after another. Meanwhile, at the palace, the minister captures the weapon smugglers and presents them before the king, accusing them of treason. In reality, the minister's true goal is to label these soldiers as traitors, gain the king's trust, and eventually seize power for himself. Enraged, the king sentences the soldier's general to punishment. Even when the general explains that everything he did was for the safety of the country, nobody listens to him. The king orders the prisoners to be tortured in an attempt to force them to reveal the name of their leader. At that moment, the crown prince steps forward and declares that he is the mastermind behind everything. He tries to explain to the king that he imported the weapons not for betrayal, but to stop the corrupt ministers and save the nation from disaster. But the king has become so blinded by the minister's lies that he refuses to trust his own son. Instead, he angrily tells the prince that it seems he wants to steal the throne for himself. Now the crown prince sees only one way to protect his loyal followers and his wife from the minister's torture. In front of everyone, he draws his sword and stabs himself in the stomach, taking his own life. Watching his son die before his eyes, the king breaks down and cries uncontrollably. Meanwhile, a fortune-telling woman in the palace manipulates the king by telling him that his younger son will also rise against him. The minister takes full advantage of the situation. He further poisons the king's mind and has the crown prince's wife locked inside a room. But before his death, the crown prince had sent a letter to his younger brother Yang through one of his most loyal men. In the letter, he wrote that the situation in the kingdom was extremely dangerous and asked Yang to come back and take his wife somewhere safe. This is where Yang enters the story. Yang is the younger brother of the crown prince. Many years ago, he left the country and moved to another land. Now, after receiving his older brother's final letter, he has returned home. He arrives at the village port with one of his friends. Yang expects people from the palace to be there waiting for him, but there is nobody in sight. The whole situation feels strange to him. He turns to his friend and says he cannot understand why no one came to receive them. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the moment news of Yang's arrival reaches the minister, he begins poisoning the king's mind. He tells the king that Yang ignored the summons before and has only returned now because he wants to seize the throne. On the other hand, the entire village is completely deserted. It looks as if not a single person is left alive. As Yang and his friend continue forward, they discover burned corpses lying along the road. After seeing all of this, Yang immediately realizes that something terrible is happening in the village. When night falls, the two of them find an empty house where they can rest. Yang's friend goes inside to look for food. Suddenly, a zombie's hand shoots out from under the bed and grabs his leg. Terrified, he breaks free and runs outside for his life. Just then, several horsemen arrive. They surround Yang and claim that they are the king's guards sent to escort him. But Yang studies them carefully. He notices that they have no extra horses for him to ride. He also sees cuts and scars on their faces. He instantly realizes that they are not royal guards at all. They are men sent by the minister to kill him. Before they can make a move, Yang draws his sword and attacks. He is such an expert fighter that he easily holds his own against all of them. But then, out of the darkness, dozens of zombies suddenly emerge and begin attacking everyone on both sides. Yang cannot understand why these people are suddenly charging around like wild animals. Then a female zombie leaps straight at him. Yang swings swings his sword and strikes her across the face, severing her head from her body. But the number of zombies keeps growing. Soon, Yang finds himself completely surrounded. Just then, an arrow whistles through the air and strikes a wooden surface nearby. The moment it hits, it begins making a loud, piercing sound. Hearing the noise, all the zombies immediately lose interest in their targets and rush toward the arrow instead. The arrow was fired by a young woman. Several people are with her. They emerge from hiding and quickly kill the remaining zombies with ease. Their leader approaches Yang and explains that they are members of the Crown Prince's secret team. They are also the ones who sent him the letter. At first, Yang suspects them. He thinks this could be another trap. But the leader identifies himself as one of the Crown Prince's most trusted soldiers. He explains that the people they just fought have become zombies because of a deadly virus. These creatures fear sunlight. That is why they only hunt during the darkness of night. There is only one way to kill them, either cut off their heads or drive a sword through their hearts. Then, to prevent the infection from spreading further, their bodies must be burned. After that, the group travels to a safe location where some of the surviving villagers are hiding. The sight there is heartbreaking. A woman is lying on the ground, suffering in agony. She was bitten by a zombie, and the villagers tied her up as a precaution. She is not fully transformed yet, but the virus has already started taking hold. Crying, she begs her son for help. She says she is extremely thirsty and asks him to bring her raw meat. Nearby, Yang notices several innocent prisoners. The king and the minister had abandoned them after wrongly assuming they were zombies. The prisoners beg Yang for help, but Yang refuses without hesitation. He says he did not come here to save anyone. The leader pleads with Yang to go to the king and ask him to send soldiers to rescue the villagers, but Yang has no interest in any of it. He makes it clear that he did not come here to be anyone's hero. His only goal is to take his sister-in-law away from this place and get her somewhere safe. Seeing how cold and indifferent he is, the doctor openly says that she does not trust him at all. To make sure the message reaches the king, the doctor decides to travel to the palace with Yang herself. When they arrive near the palace, a guard stops them and says that because of the fear of infection, only Yang is allowed inside. No outsiders can enter. Yang tells his companions to wait there while he goes in alone. As he walks toward the palace, the lieutenant warns him that the minister is extremely dangerous and was responsible for the crown prince's death. He tells Yang to be careful around him. Meanwhile, one of the soldiers who had been sent to kill Yang survives and returns to the minister. He lies and claims that he successfully killed Yang, hoping to receive a large reward. However, he hides the fact that a zombie bit him during the attack, but the minister is far too clever to be fooled. After looking at the man's condition and his body, he immediately realizes that he is lying for a reward. The minister tells him that his reward is waiting for him in the basement and that he should go collect it. The man happily heads downstairs, but the moment he enters the basement, a zombie suddenly grabs him and drags him inside. In reality, the minister already knows about the zombies. He has been secretly keeping these infected creatures alive on purpose so that he can use them to seize the throne when the time is right. As part of this terrifying plan, the minister sends one of his trusted women, who serves close to the king, into the same basement. She is the same woman who had previously made the prophecy before the king. The minister knows very well that she is one of the few people who can meet the king directly, so he locks her in the basement and allows a zombie to bite her, intending for her to infect the king. The next morning, while the king is having breakfast with everyone, the infected woman is also present. Suddenly, the virus begins spreading through her body. Her veins swell. Her eyes turn completely white. Strange cracking sounds come from her bones. Within moments, she transforms into a horrifying zombie in front of everyone. She immediately leaps at the king and viciously bites his hand. The king angrily shoves her away and orders all zombies in the kingdom to be killed. The guards quickly draw their swords and kill the woman, but by then, it is already too late. The king has been infected. What is shocking is that neither the king nor his officials truly understand what these zombies are. They simply assume that the woman suffered some kind of madness. Gradually, news of the king's infection begins to spread. Meanwhile, during one of the minister's meetings, people discuss the fact that the king is still alive. Then one man points out that even if the king dies, the throne will pass to Yang. Hearing this, the minister becomes furious. Elsewhere, Yang finally meets his father, the king, but the king is not happy to see him at all. Instead, he becomes angry and demands to know why Yang has returned after so many years. Yang tries to explain that a deadly disease is spreading outside. People are turning into monsters and eating one another. He says that the army must be sent immediately to stop them. He reminds the king that when he ordered the zombies to be killed, the minister intentionally blocked that order. Looking directly at the minister, Yang says that he knows exactly what his intentions are. He accuses him him of wanting Yang dead on the road so he could eliminate the king and seize the throne himself. But the king believes Yang has lost his mind. The minister's supporters quickly join in and dismiss everything Yang says as lies. The king mocks him and claims that he only returned because he wants the throne. Yang immediately responds that he has no desire for the throne. He came back only to take his sister-in-law somewhere safe. Hearing this, the king realizes that Yang is also deeply grieving the death of his older brother. But Yang quickly understands that his father is completely under the minister's control and that staying here any longer is dangerous. At that moment, the infection begins spreading rapidly through the king's body. He urgently tells Yang to leave at once. After receiving no help from the king, Yang quietly makes his way to the room where the minister has imprisoned his sister-in-law. He frees her and shows her his brother's final letter. In it, the crown prince had written that she should leave with Yang and travel to a safe country far away because her life is in danger here. After reading the letter from her dead husband, Yang's sister-in-law breaks down in tears. At first, she refuses to leave the kingdom. She wants to stay and make sure the minister is punished for his crimes. Seeing this, Yang realizes just how great his brother truly was. Eventually, she agrees to leave with him, but just as they are about to escape, Yang's friend arrives with urgent news. He tells them that the minister has captured the leader and his companions. At that same moment, the minister himself shows up. He walks over to Yang and quietly threatens him. He says that he already had Yang's request for military assistance cancelled. Then he warns him that if he values his life, he should leave alone before sunrise. Otherwise, he will end up just like his brother. Hearing this, Yang becomes furious and is about to draw his sword. But his friend stops him because the minister's guards have them surrounded from every direction. Meanwhile, several high-ranking officials from the neighboring nation, the Qing dynasty, arrive at the palace. The king fears them greatly. To keep them pleased, a grand celebration is organized that very night. No one has any idea that the minister has prepared a deadly trap for everyone attending. His real plan is simple. Once the king fully transforms into a zombie and starts attacking people in front of the visiting officials, the minister will kill him and make himself look like the hero who saved the nation. Then, he will declare himself the new king. To carry out this horrifying scheme, the minister secretly opens all the cages containing the zombies hidden inside the palace as soon as night falls. Outside, the party is filled with loud music, dancing, singing, and beating drums. The hungry zombies hear the sound of the drums and begin moving rapidly toward the celebration. But the guests have no idea that disaster is approaching. Everyone is busy enjoying themselves. Meanwhile, the virus has completely taken over the king's body. Suddenly, the king rises from his seat and starts walking forward. The guests assume that he is simply joining the festivities. But before anyone can understand what is happening, the king suddenly lunges at one of the dancers and viciously bites her. At that moment, Yang arrives. He had already learned that his father was turning into a zombie, but when he gets closer, he notices something strange. Even after transforming, the king appears to be trying to say something to his son. Seeing his father reduced to a monstrous creature terrifies him. Before Yang can do anything, the minister rushes forward from behind and drives his sword straight through the king's chest. The minister has waited years for this moment. Now, nobody dares question why he killed the king. After all, the king has become a zombie, giving the minister the perfect excuse. The king collapses to the ground. One of the Qing dynasty officials becomes furious after witnessing this. He accuses the minister of killing the ruler they had chosen, but the minister is no longer afraid of anyone. He openly declares that from this moment on, he is the king of the nation. Some people quietly whisper that Yang should be the rightful heir. The minister immediately threatens them into silence. At that moment, drawn by the sound of the drums, thousands of zombies storm into the palace and attack the guests like wild animals. The minister had already planned his escape. For his protection, he had gathered guards armed with Western firearms. Under their protection, he calmly leaves the chaos behind and retreats into one of the palace rooms. He locks himself inside. His plan is to hide there until the zombies kill everyone else in the palace. Then, when morning comes, he will summon the army, wipe out the remaining zombies, and begin his reign as the new king. Outside, Yang watches helplessly as the zombies tear innocent people apart. Seeing the massacre unfold, Yang immediately draws his sword and charges forward with his companions, cutting down zombies as they fight their way through the chaos. Then he spots his sister-in-law. Terrified, she is hiding beneath a table. Yang quickly reaches her and helps her escape. At that moment, his friend arrives with 2 horses. Yang immediately places his sister-in-law in his friend's care and tells him to take her somewhere far away and safe. After that, Yang leaves on his own and heads straight for the commander of the royal guards. At that moment, moment, the commander is torturing the leader inside a prison cell, trying to force him to testify against Yang. When Yang arrives, he reveals the entire truth. He explains how the minister released thousands of zombies into the palace. Yang tells him that the guards must immediately block every gate and passage leading out of the palace. Otherwise, if the zombies escape into the villages, the entire country will be destroyed. The commander understands how serious the situation is. He immediately orders his soldiers to begin building barricades. After that, Yang frees the leader and the rest of his companions from prison because he needs their help. But just then, a massive horde of zombies storms into the prison as well. Yang and the leader work together to shut a heavy wooden door in an attempt to hold them back. But the zombies are incredibly strong. The door is on the verge of breaking apart. Then they notice a small window above them. They quickly tie a rope to both sides of the window. One by one, everyone climbs through and jumps out to safety. In the end, Yang also manages to escape the zombies. Meanwhile, the commander and his guards have already set up wooden barricades at the palace gates, but they have no idea just how dangerous the zombies have become. There are more than 1,000 of them. The zombies begin climbing over the barricades, and the guards' defensive lines start collapsing. A brutal battle of life and death erupts between the guards and the undead. Throughout the night, the guards risk their lives to stop the zombies from escaping the palace. Slowly, the night passes. Then the sun begins to rise. The moment the first rays of sunlight appear, the zombies start running toward the shadows in panic. Their bodies begin burning when exposed to sunlight. Any zombie caught in direct sunlight is burned to ashes on the spot. In fact, sunlight and daylight are the greatest weakness of these creatures. Meanwhile, the minister finally emerges from his hiding place inside the palace. He believes the game is completely under his control now. He gathers the surviving officials and prepares to declare himself the new king of the nation. But one official objects. He argues that the rightful heir should come from the royal family, which means Yang should inherit the throne. Hearing this, the minister angrily pulls out a gun and shoots the official dead. The remaining officials are so terrified that they immediately submit to him. But suddenly a zombie emerges from the shadows and attacks the minister. The minister easily kills the zombie. However, everyone standing nearby notices something. The zombie managed to bite the minister's hand. The minister immediately realizes that people will now see him as infected and try to kill him. That is why he refuses to let anyone come near him. The other officials quickly understand what has happened. They realize that he will eventually become a monster as well, so they move toward him, preparing to attack. But the minister draws his sword and brutally cuts down all of his own allies. He realizes that the plan he spent years building is about to fall apart. In a desperate attempt to stop the virus from spreading through his body, he doesn't hesitate for a second. He takes his sword and cuts off his infected hand. Then he swallows a large amount of medicine to stop the bleeding. But the reaction between the drugs and the virus creates something unexpected. He does not become a full zombie. Instead, he turns into something far worse. Half human and half zombie. His body gains terrifying zombie-like strength. He starts believing that he is the king of all zombies. Dressing himself in royal clothing, he sits upon the throne. Meanwhile, Yang is devastated by his father's death. For a moment, he decides to leave the country and return to his own city. But his sister-in-law and the doctor remind him that his older brother always dreamed of helping the people of the kingdom. Inspired by their determination, Yang decides to stay. The doctor happily agrees to stand by his side. Later, Yang meets with the commander of the royal guards. He orders him to immediately call the border army and tighten security at every border crossing. The coming night must not allow any zombie to escape the palace. As for the situation inside the palace, Yang and his team will handle it themselves. After that, Yang comes up with a massive and extremely dangerous plan. The idea is to fill the largest hall in the palace with huge amounts of wood and oil. A giant drum will be placed in the center. By beating the drum, they will lure every zombie in the palace into one location. Then they will set the entire hall on fire and burn all the zombies alive at once. Once the plan is ready, Yang and his team set out to find the corrupt minister responsible for all this destruction. They make their way into the basement beneath the western room, where countless weapons are stored. Suddenly, out of the darkness, the half-zombie minister emerges with a terrifying growl. Yang and the leader attack him immediately, but the minister now possesses the strength of a zombie. He no longer feels pain. Even together, they cannot defeat him. In the end, Yang's friend is forced to risk his own life to create an opportunity for everyone else to escape. His sacrifice allows the others to get away. But during the struggle, the minister brutally kills him. Yang is heartbroken by the loss of his friend, but there is no time to grieve. Suddenly, the weather changes. Dark clouds cover the sky and rain begins to fall. As soon as the sunlight disappears, the remaining zombies start emerging from their hiding places once again. Yang and his companions immediately begin rescuing the survivors. Then one of their own teammates gets bitten by a zombie. Knowing what awaits him, he begs for death so he cannot harm anyone else. With heavy hearts, they are forced to kill their own friend. Night is approaching, and their trap is finally ready. Yang announces that he will stay behind, beat beat the drum and ignite the fire himself. Everyone else should leave for a safe location. But then the leader steps forward. He reveals a bite mark on his neck. A zombie had bitten him. He calmly explains that he will become a zombie soon anyway, so he decides to stay behind and sacrifice himself. He will beat the drum and light the fire to save everyone else. Before they leave, the leader makes Yang promise something. He must free the kingdom from the zombies, fulfill his brother's dream, and eventually take responsibility for the throne himself. Overcome with emotion, Yang accepts his request. Then everyone leaves the palace, leaving the leader behind alone. As soon as the sun sets, all the zombies hiding in the darkness come crawling out like starving beasts. The leader begins beating the drum with all his strength. The powerful sound echoes throughout the palace. Hearing it, every zombie starts moving toward the Great Hall. Meanwhile, the virus is spreading rapidly through the leader's body. His condition worsens by the minute, but he fights to maintain control and keeps beating the drum so that even more zombies will gather there. Eventually, the hall becomes completely packed with zombies. The leader grabs a torch and is just about to throw it onto the oil, but suddenly the half-zombie minister appears. Before the fire can start, the minister stamps out the flame. Then he drives his sword straight into the leader's chest, killing him. Outside the palace, Yang and his team are waiting for the flames to rise, but the fire never comes. After a long time, the sound of the drum suddenly stops as well. Yang immediately realizes that something has gone terribly wrong. Yang immediately realizes that something terrible has happened inside and that the plan has failed. Ignoring everyone's warnings, he grabs a horse, draws his sword, and rides back to the palace alone without caring about his own life. The moment he charges through the palace gates, a massive horde of zombies attacks him and knocks him off his horse. Yang quickly gets back on his feet. Drawing his sword, he cuts his way through the zombies and keeps moving forward. Fear and death surround him from every direction, yet Yang fights like a fearless warrior in the middle of thousands of zombies. After a brutal struggle, he finally reaches the main hall. As soon as he enters, he sees the leader's lifeless body lying on the floor, and there, sitting comfortably on the royal throne, is the minister. It is as if he truly believes himself to be the king of the zombies. Without wasting a second, Yang grabs the drumsticks and starts beating the drum as hard as he can. The sound echoes through the palace. Hearing it, all the wandering zombies outside begin rushing back toward the hall. Soon, the hall is completely packed with zombies. Yang picks up a torch and tries to ignite the trap, but before he can do it, the zombie minister attacks him. A brutal battle erupts between them. Because of the virus, the minister has become incredibly powerful. Yang's attacks barely affect him at all. Little by little, Yang begins to lose strength. At the same time, hungry zombies surround him from every direction. It seems impossible for him to survive. Outside the palace, the doctor realizes that something must have gone wrong inside and that Yang is in danger. She quickly lights an arrow on fire and shoots it toward the hall. The first arrow falls short. Refusing to give up, she lights a second arrow. This time it flies through a window and lodges itself into a wooden pillar inside the hall. Yang notices the burning arrow. He immediately leaps onto the pillar, pulls the flaming arrow free, and throws it onto the oil-soaked floor below. The moment it lands, a massive explosion erupts. Flames race through the entire hall. Within seconds, all the zombies are engulfed in the raging fire. The blaze spreads so quickly that Yang is forced to break through the roof and climb to safety above. But the story is not over yet. The minister is not going to die that easily. Escaping the flames himself, he smashes through the roof and stands before Yang once again. Now the final battle begins on the burning rooftop. The minister has the upper hand. He brutally beats Yang and nearly throws him into the fire below, but somehow Yang manages to hold on. Then, when the virus causes the minister to lose focus for a brief moment, Yang sees his chance. He drives his knife straight into the minister's heart. As soon as the blade pierces his heart, the minister's strength begins to fade. The heart is the zombie's greatest weakness. But even in his final moments, the minister tries to drag Yang down into the flames with him. Yang gathers every bit of strength he has left and thrusts his sword deep into the minister's chest. The minister crashes through the roof and falls directly into the inferno below. There, he burns to ashes forever. Yang hangs from a broken section of the roof and somehow manages to pull himself back up, saving his own life. At that moment, the border army finally arrives with their weapons and guns. The soldiers who once feared the minister are no longer afraid. They eliminate every remaining zombie outside the palace with gunfire. The guards, the soldiers, and the surviving villagers all celebrate when they see that Yang is alive. Everyone understands that he risked his life to save them all. They bow before him and accept him as their new king. But Yang knows his mission is not over. The virus has not been completely eradicated. There are still zombies hiding in nearby villages. Yang makes a vow that he will not rest until every last zombie in the country has been hunted down and destroyed. For the sake of protecting his people, he raises his sword once more and heads toward the mountains to hunt the remaining zombies. And with that, this incredible movie comes to an end.